Alright, hello everybody, I am live in Montmartre where it is snowing in a video that's I think is becoming an annual tradition. The first or the early snow of winter, live in Montmartre. I'm going to walk you along one of my favorite streets, Rue des Abbesses, up towards the Sacré Coeur to have a look at the view over Paris in the snow. Because if you're just joining, it's the first snow of the winter. So I'm going to take you on a walk as usual. Let me know where you're watching from. If it cuts out halfway through, it's probably because the phone's frozen. I've got an umbrella with me, but let's just see how we go. I'm going to turn the camera around and let's get going. So, umbrella up. Now I've already seen a bunch of people slipping, and if any of you guys watched watched the live video I did last year, you might remember that I was slipping the whole way as well. So that's something that we can get ready for if I fall over. Maybe we'll end the video as well. So my farewells in advance if it cuts up quickly. Could be the snow, could be me falling over. So I see a lot of people are tuning in. This is great. Rue des Abbesses is where we are. This is an impromptu live, unlike the ones I usually do for Patreon supporters, where I say the date and the time and the guest. This is just me showing you guys something. I see John's watching. Bonjour John, and Deborah's saying hello from Virginia, which I assume is Virginia. And Brian just about to turn out the light and go to bed. It's an impromptu live, Brian. You got to stay awake. This is Montmartre in the snow, the first snow of the season, and I wanted to share it with you. So I'm predicting about a 15-20 minute walk if you are just about to go to bed in, let's say, Somerville, Victoria, or wherever you are in the world. You're gonna miss it, but you can always watch the replay. And yes, Virginia is what Deborah Ball meant. But anyway, I'm taking you along for those of you who like to watch on the live maps. We're on Rue des Abbesses, where there's a beautiful church, one of the older churches in the area. I think I read something that's one of the oldest in the city. But this is more just a, I just wanted to show you the city, what it looks like in the rain. Not so much of a tour, just a bit of a, in the rain and the snow, just a bit of a look around. And my idea is we're going to go down that one street on the right, but first I'm going to show you the famous I love you wall, which I showed in a Patreon video very recently when I did a walk in the rain, and I admitted that I wasn't the world's biggest fan of it, and everyone went crazy at me. But I'll show you guys because I know people really do enjoy it. Susan endorsed it. Be careful. That's a good point. I should. It's very slippery. But I'll just keep it a bit quiet while we go and look at this. So the idea on this wall, just off Rue des Abbesses, is that they've written the words I love you in I think every single language that there is. So if I'll give you a little pan and see if you can find it in English, and then I'm going to reveal where it is if I can find it. I found it in French. Wait, I know it's somewhere in the middle in English. Does anybody? I see it. Does anybody else see it? I'll use 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There you have it. And there it is in French in the middle. Okay. It's pretty quiet. Usually it's really touristy here. Susan's grandson lives a few streets away. Well, there you go. And Lidaz sees it in Hebrew already. I've spent a fair bit of time there trying to pronounce. And if there were no tourists there, I probably would have tried to read it out and interacted with all you guys, because anyone who's watched these walk shows before know that I love interacting with you guys. So keep telling me where you're listening from or where you're watching from. Tag your friends if you think that they'd like it as well to join in the walk. This is Montmartre live in the snow, and I'm going to put on a glove. I say a glove, I'm going to put on 2 gloves. So just bear with me, everybody. I'm trying to hold an umbrella, a stabilizer, and 2 gloves because it's cold. Okay, here we go. So if you guys watched that the walk show I did with Boris, who's this week's podcast guest, I uploaded it yesterday, and later on today, within a few hours, I'll do the blog post that goes with it. He did a really great explanation of these Art Nouveau metro entrances. And if you didn't watch that one and you're a supporter on Patreon, I encourage you to go to the end of the Parc Monceau video, because he explained in great detail how this is, and I'm never going to do it justice, but you know, all the symbolism and meanings of these metro entrances designed by I think Hector Guimard, I believe. But I'd go and watch that if I were you. Now where was I going to take you? Oh, that's right, to, oh my, really, the snow is starting. I'm going to take you to the Sacré Coeur, which is just a short walk away. So Liraz lives in Belgium. Someone watching in Belgium, that's great. John says that Boris was great, and that's true. He was a brilliant guest, and yesterday he reeled off the most interesting thing to see in every arrondissement of Paris. So not just like you know, the most beautiful thing or the most touristy thing, the most intriguing, interesting thing. Bit of a longer podcast episode, but you should go and subscribe to that wherever you might get your podcast, because that was a fun one. Speaking of the podcast, you guys who've been around for a long time might remember season 1, episode 2 or 3. I had Elaine Chelino, the author, on, writing about the only street in Paris, which is Rue des Martyrs. And guess what? That is where we are right now. We're crossing it, Rue des Martyrs. So this is the very beginning of the street, and I hope you guys have all read that book all the way down. And it goes all the way, like, this is, like, I think it's 2 kilometers or something more to get down to the other end. But we're not here to talk about Rue des Martyrs. Whoa! We're here to try and get to the Sacré Coeur without slipping over. Brian's asking if I'm using the new microphone. I never ended up getting the new microphone because, I don't know, a lot of complications at the microphone shop. Mostly that he couldn't find one that worked with what I was doing, but I will work on it. In other news, give me a second here. Here you go. I just wanted to talk to you while I tell you the other news. What I did last night for an upcoming episode is went to the Moulin Rouge spectacle for the first time in my life, and tomorrow I'm going to meet one of the soloist dancers for an upcoming podcast episode. So once again, if you haven't subscribed to the podcast, you're already missing out, but that's going to come out really soon. What a show! Like, if you come into Paris, I highly recommend going to the Moulin Rouge. I had no idea about it before. Whoa, a lot of mystery surrounding it, but it was really cool to get in there and see it for myself. But more on that soon. Whoa, there's so much snow. Turn the camera back. So, anyone that's new around these parts might not realize that I'm from Australia, which is kind of why I get so excited when it starts snowing. And I remember this time last year, it was really snowing for a few days, and I sort of ran up to Montmartre to do a video similar to this one, except this time I'm fortunate enough to live in the area, not too far from where I started the video, so it's just a matter of popping out onto the street. And you guys who are familiar with Montmartre, putting the gloves back on, you know that we're really close to the Sacré Coeur, and really beautiful sort of collection of streets around here that I love walking about. In fact, the magazine that I've been doing, so for the January, or the next issue of the magazine, is all about Montmartre. Things to see, stories about it, songs about it, movies about it. Manon from Lost in Translation wrote a little bit about Amélie. It's all happening. Anyway, that one's going to come out at the end of the month, as usual. So John asked, is Paris good at snow removal, salting the streets? I'll tell you what, it's not as good as a country like Sweden, which is snow removal on steroids. They remove it before it even lands. Here, I mean, they don't usually get the kind of snow that you get in some parts of the rest of the world, so it's not really it's not a problem that they have to deal with so much. But I saw there were snow sweepers or plows up in the Bouchemont this morning. I saw on a post. Okay, look at this.
Hello, where are you from?
Hello, not today, thank you.
Hey, where are you from?
No, thank you. So we will continue this walk, and that was me displaying to you guys exactly how you should react when someone tries to tie something to your wrist when you're walking through Montmartre. Just a firm no thank you or a non merci. Otherwise, they're gonna tie something to your wrist really tightly, just a piece of string, and then when you try and walk away, they'll ask you for €5 for it. You guys may have seen that sort of little public service announcement I did here the other day. I was on this street. If you're on this street, which is Rue de Steinkirk, I think, and you see people offering you to win €50 from doing a little, you know, a little sort of find a ball under the egg cup game, please do not do it, because you're not going to get your money back. It's a scam. So here's the view we all came to see, I think. And that question that I saw before about snow removal, the answer is, wow, the answer is that, oh, I just walked past this cameraman here. Whoa. The answer is, they're not going to remove it from these steps anytime soon, so they just shut the park. So for us to get up there and get the view, we'll have to go up those stairs on the left, which, fortunately, I'm happy to do. Oh, just walk through. So here's a question for you guys who like Paris or who've been to Paris. Do you think anyone wearing a beret is French? Do you find French people wearing berets, or is it just the tourists who have bought them from the tourist shops that are lining the streets that we're walking along now? I don't know, it's something I've been thinking about a lot. But usually when you see these bright red berets, you're often looking at a tourist. That's something I've learned. So we're going to sneak up through this way. No, thank you.
Where are you from? No,
no,
don't
worry. No, 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 thank you. No, thank you. No, no, thank you. So, there you go. That guy literally came up and grabbed me on the arm to try and, I think he wanted to talk to the camera, but yeah, I don't know. Just a firm no thank you, on your way. It can seem kind of rude for a lot of tourists who are used to being very polite. Don't like to say no, but say no and thank me later. Now we're going up the steps. Now this is where I'm not going to talk to you as I walk up these steps. I'm going to take them two at a time. This is where you guys can talk to me. Tell me what you want to see in future videos, future podcast episodes, or just tell me what you love about Montmartre. But if you think I'm going to talk and walk for the rest of these stairs, you are having a laugh. Here we go. I see Teresa's comment. I always think of European vacation when I see berets. What does that mean? That when you were on vacation, that you wore them? Okay, here we go. So the reward for this climb will be the view over the city. One of the best views, perhaps, besides the one from the Montmartre Tower or the Eiffel Tower. We'll get in there. And those who watched last year maybe remember that on this snowy slope, people were skiing, snowboarding. Ah, the movie. So here's Nancy says, we saw a guy doing push-ups backwards up these steps. How does that even work? James McPherson says bonjour. Hello, James. Hello in Chicago. You've joined just in time. We're about to get to the top, show the view. I'm out of breath. So this is a pretty cool thing, this funicular. I was researching about the Paris Metro, and it's like one of the stations that that people semi-count as a metro station of Paris and semi-don't. You need to use a metro card to get to the top of it, or pay €1.90 or whatever it is. But there's two teams of people, those who say it's a metro stop, and those who don't. Oh man, people are running up these stairs. He's going a lot faster than I am, but he doesn't have an umbrella and a stabilizer and a big jacket. Okay guys, we're almost there. We'll walk up these steps. Oh, the youths are throwing snowballs. That's one way to destroy a stabilizer. So John says that was my first ever funicular. That's a nice memory. I wonder if it was in the snow. Here we go. Oh. Snowball throwing. Here we go, we made it. Brian, I've just tinkered with this stabilizer and it seems to be working alright. Don't know what happened with the Australian ambassador video, but he was a great sport about it. He said, you know, that's the thing when you go live, anything could happen. And yeah, that was when the stabilizer got possessed. But it's all better now. So you guys joining right now, perfect time to join. We've just got to the top of the Sacré Coeur steps. Okay, here we go, here's the view. Wow. Okay, I'll give you the pan of this view here. The hottest day of the year, says John. Marked by what is definitely the coldest day of the year today when you visit it again. So usually if you don't come here on a snowy day, you can really see for miles, including if you go a little bit over to the right, you can see the Eiffel Tower. But I know that we won't be able to see it because I couldn't see it from my lounge room this morning at the new house that I've moved into. But I don't know, I think that's still a pretty nice view. I'll walk downwards to this sort of second viewpoint where there are fewer people. But yeah, I see more people are joining in and watching this live stream. If you're new around here, the live streams I usually do are with a guest, and I've got a few coming up. And if you haven't noticed, I sort of do the first 5 minutes as a little freebie trailer, and then the rest is all for people subscribing on Patreon, which is patreon.com/the Earful Tower. So this week, oh, there's a skier. Fantastic. Okay. Well, if we hang around, we might see something special. Let's get down to this viewpoint. Whoa. Yeah, really warm from walking up the steps. Too hot. I want to take off my jacket. I think I read somewhere that when you are freezing to death, someone will have to Google check me on this one. When you start freezing to death, it's called, I don't know what it's called, but you end up taking off your clothes, like some weird trigger in your brain. And sometimes they find people who are frozen to death, like basically naked, because they think they're really warm. Maybe that's what's happening to me after walking up those steps. Cindy Nicole says, those stairs, oh my god, when we visited it was very warm, and you're right, the view was amazing. Can't read any more of the comment because Facebook never lets you read the long comments on Facebook Lives. But anyway, here's Paris. I don't think I'm going to freeze to death. We can just enjoy the view a little bit. Anyway, so some of the upcoming walk shows. The recent podcast guest I had, Cardin Olsen from Paris, in 4 months. We're going to walk around the Ile Saint-Louis that we talked about in the show, where she used to live, and where there's a man owning a pig. I think we're going to go and try and find the pig. I should talk to you guys for a sec. It feels a little rude. I'm talking to you without looking at you. See if I can get the view too. Difficult. Anyway, so that's going to come up. Brian Paroli from who did a walk show with me before, from the Gay Locals. He's written a new book. We're going to go walking somewhere. I think Abbesses Metro area, and I'm going to try and convince the girl from the Moulin Rouge to do a walk as well. Like, I'm going to do a podcast episode with her that I record on Wednesday, so tomorrow, and then yeah, we'll try and get some more walks coming. And then an upcoming podcast guest I'm going to record this week is Annabelle Sims, who's written a book about like half-an-hour day trips from Paris, which I'm really intrigued about. Anyway, I'll show you this view a little bit more. April Pet's just tuned in. Beautiful. I was out in the snow too. Brings out the Canadian in me. April in Paris tours, that's who she is. And we did a walk. We did like an hour sunrise walk from this very spot in Montmartre, which was very memorable. And I recommend Patreon subscribers to go check that one out. I realize I talk a lot about Patreon. That's because it's thanks to the Patreon supporters that the Eiffel Tower exists. And for your subscription, you get a lot of extra bonus stuff. So I encourage you to go and check that out. And hello to all the new subscribers. Patreon.com/the Eiffel Tower. But that's about it for today. I think you've got a good idea of Paris in the snow. It's getting pretty cold up here. I'm going to go continue exploring and maybe take a few snaps of this beautiful city. And I'll keep an eye out on these skiers and see if they get going too. But thanks for watching, and thanks for your comments, and I'll see you guys all when I see you next. If it keeps snowing like this, maybe I'll do another snow walk. Au revoir.